Hello, all. This is my Watchlist Wednesday for July 2026. I only watched a handful of films again, I'm afraid, but at least I'm doing more than 4 at a time like I used to, so that's progress. I started with Synecdoche, New York. I knew I would struggle saying that, so I wrote it down phonetically. I gave it 3 stars. Frankly, this film confused me, so I may give it a rewatch. But I had to get started on my quest to watch more Diane Wiest films. I really enjoyed her work here, and of course, Philip Seymour Hoffman is fantastic in anything, even in movies I don't understand. Next up was another Diane Wiest film called The Simple Life of Noah Dearborn, which starred Sidney Poitier. I gave it 3.5 stars and the little orange like heart on Letterboxd. It was a very touching film. It was originally a made-for-TV film, apparently. I haven't found it on physical media yet, but I did find it streaming on Tubi. It was very wholesome, I guess because it had been a TV movie. And Sidney Poitier is the perfect casting for this character because he's supposed to be kind of this enigmatic man who everyone is charmed by. And I'd say that fits. Next up was Honora, which won the Best Picture at the Oscars last year. I gave it 2.5 stars and no like heart. I was way too irritated by her husband. I wanted to smack that kid, and I'm not a violent person. And he just kept getting more and more unlikable as it went on. Oh my gosh, he was unbearable. I thought Mikey Madison did a good job. Frankly, I think her Oscar was probably deserved, but the Best Picture one, not so much. Next up was an old film called Laura, which I gave 4 stars and the like heart. It was very good. I watched it mainly for Vincent Price, and he was incredible here. It was nice to see him in a role that was not villainous. He was very charming. It was one of those stories where you think you know what's happening, and then about midway through you go, oh, maybe I was wrong, and then you turn out to be right. So it was very nice to keep being surprised. So if you haven't seen Laura, I highly recommend it. It was very entertaining. Next up, I finally saw K-Pop Demon Hunters with my daughter. We both really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars and the little orange heart. I will be watching that one again for sure. I fell in love with the derpy tiger and the little bird who sits on his head. I think he's called Sus, the bird. Next up was After Hours, a Martin Scorsese film starring Griffin Dunn. I, to be honest, it took me 2 sittings to get through this film, and I was very tempted to quit. But right at the point where I was ready to quit, it became more interesting. So I'm glad I stuck it out. But I only gave it 2.5 stars and no heart, I'm afraid. It just wasn't my thing, I guess. It kind of made me anxious, which I think is kind of the idea. I think you're supposed to share in the character's anxiety, but yeah, that wasn't a good time for me. Also, not much of a good time for me was Obsession. I gave that 3.5 stars because it really is a good film. It was just kind of upsetting for me, triggering in parts, I would say. And Bear is definitely the villain, and I don't know why that was ever in question. It is a very well-made movie with wonderful performances, and it was directed by a YouTuber and co-starred his YouTube partner. Next up was Bright Lights Big City, another Diane Wiest. She was barely in it, but it still counts. I gave it 3 stars and no heart. Bright Lights Big City actually reminded me a bit of After Hours. There's something of a similar vibe between the two. And seeing Michael J. Fox in that kind of role was actually quite interesting. All that said, I don't think it's something I will revisit frequently, but it's on my Wiest shelf in case I ever want to. Next was Darling Companion, another Diane Wiest film. I enjoyed the fact that she was in a couple in this movie with Richard Jenkins, a character actor I very much enjoy. This movie was okay. I gave it 3 stars, but no like heart. I really enjoyed that the main storyline between Kevin Kline and Diane Keaton was kind of rom-com-y, but it was for a couple who had been together already for years. So that was kind of a nice approach. I liked that. But honestly, I could have used more dog. Next up was the delightful time that was House of the Long Shadows, starring Vincent Price, Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, John Carradine, and Desi Arnaz Jr. I gave it 3.5 and the Orange Heart. It was a very good time. And I don't want to give you too many spoilers, but there's a scene near the end that was especially fun. Next up was The Mambo Kings, which I gave 2.5 stars. I really thought I would like this one more than I did. I watched it mainly because Desi Arnaz Jr. plays his father. He did not do a very good job at the accent, I must say. It was one of those like news anchor person kind of things where he just had his own voice, but then he had the accent on Spanish words. Next up was Wham! 10 Days in China, which I actually did a review video on. I gave it 4 stars and the like heart. So if you'd like to check out that video for more details on what I thought of that one. But long story short, it was a very good time. And finally for July, I watched Once. I had bought it about a week prior to Glenn Hansard passing away. It was very good. It almost seemed like a documentary the way it was shot. It was very interesting. I gave it 4 stars and the heart. It was very pleasant. I still remember that song. That song was everywhere. Falling Slowly, I believe it's called. So that was July. I have very few watches for August so far. I was thinking of actually combining them and doing this episode in September, but I thought I would go ahead and get July covered. And who knows, maybe I can catch up and get a few more under my belt for August. So that's about it. Thank you for listening and watching my little slideshow here. And I will hopefully see you again soon.